Point Blank Period Podcast is where we come to have real blank conversation with real people. Get into it. What up, family? This is your girl, Keita, coming through with another episode today. And today we're going to be talking about real estate, what it is to buy a home, the home buying process. And if you're interested in becoming a real estate agent, then that's what we're going to talk about. Because we got Corey, who is the expertise in real estate because he's been doing real estate for 8 years. And he currently is employed with Keller Williams. Corey, say what's up to the people.
Hello. How you doing? What's going on?
I'm doing good. I look forward to our conversation, and we about to get into it. So, Corey, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me where you're from, how you got in real estate. Did you always think about doing real estate, or did it kind of happen upon you?
Well, cool. Of course, I've been in real estate for 8 years now. I'm from Georgia. I'm from North Georgia. I grew up in the small town of Toccoa up in Stevens County and moved to Atlanta in 2003, I believe, and got into real estate about 8 years ago. And with Keller Williams at the time, and I got into it because I wanted to. My previous job was law enforcement, and I just wanted more money. I wanted more time on myself. I wanted to have a family. I wanted those type of things in life, and I'm glad I got out into real estate now, being that the way law enforcement is. So I've been in real estate for that long, and I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Okay, well, that's good because, there's a lot of people out there that's thinking about doing real estate. Mm-hmm. And so tell me, I know in the beginning you didn't just up and quit your job and just did real estate full time. So Tell me how you transitioned from having a full-time job and actually being a real estate agent at the same time. And how did you kind of balance work life and also balancing your clients as well?
Cool. So for me at the time, I was having a daughter. 8 years ago. She's 8 now. So when I was out with maternity leave from my job, I was able to take the real estate course.
Yes, man's maternity leave?
Yeah, I took the real estate course, and I learned everything I needed to as far as the license portion of it. Okay. And then I got with just some friends in real estate and followed them around, tagged around, and I was working evening shift with my job at the time, and I was able to work in the mornings real estate until I just got so busy that I couldn't afford to go to work and clock in anymore. Right. And my whole goal was to transition to real estate full time to where I could direct all my attention to my clients. And and Keller Williams put me on from the get-go all the way through, showing me everything I needed to know. And then my friends are real estate too, so they helped. But I think if you have the opportunity and the passion about you, I think the biggest thing to learn and to have is your self-drive for real estate, because it's self-employment. Right. So you got to be able to drive yourself. Okay,
so if someone wants to become a real estate agent, someone might be potentially me. What advice would you give someone when it comes to after they pass the test and get certified and then finding a broker? What would that broker process look like? How did Keller Williams fit with your goals and your ambitions for being a real estate agent?
Yeah, shoot ya. And I mean, I can only speak about my experience. Mm-hmm. And just like I told you then when we were in the process of with you, I think the biggest thing is to get with someone that you can ask a ton of questions to. You can come and tag along with them at their office, and then interview. Let those people introduce you to the licensed brokers at those offices, so that broker can tell you about that company. I love Keller Williams after interviewing with several other brokers of who to hang my hat with. Mm-hmm. Why I wanted to be with Keller Williams is because of their teaching and training. And they have like a big blueprint to the world of real estate. So you don't have to create your own, or you don't have to jump out there on your own and trying to figure out things. They put you with a mentor. They put you through a class that's called Ignite from the get-go. And that teaches you how to manage a client, manage a contract. Mm-hmm. And all of those things is important, because that was one of my big fears, is just being stuck by myself. Right. But I had two cool people, guys that I just tagged along with a lot and rode their coattails until I was able to manage everything by myself. But now Keller Williams, they truly hold your hand through the process and give you all the guidance you need. And that's what you want in your first company. so that you can get your friends' help and your true professional help from your broker that's going to give you all of that big toolbox.
Right. Well, that is good. And by the way, my audience and my listener, Corey has been a wonderful. When I was buying the house, oh my God, I can't even say enough about how wonderful of a real estate agent he was. He was patient. Number one, he was patient, very knowledgeable, and very just hands-on. Whenever I called, he didn't feel like, oh Lord, why this lady calling me? Or
No,
any
not at
time
all.
in the afternoon, it could have been 7:00. He still had his phone on. He was available. He was just, I mean, words really can't describe our experience. And I am so grateful that I found you. And honestly, I found him by a word of mouth. So I'm pretty sure that is a real estate biggest.
That's our biggest compliment.
Right.
Is to get a referral from someone else that we worked with in the past. Because for me, how I look at my business and my future is that I don't need to be just a one transaction for you,
Right.
realtor. I need you to refer me in the future, and I need you to be able to use me again. So I need to be able to take good care of you so that you would want to do that.
Absolutely. And he took wonderful care of me. Listen, if I ever sell my house and buy another one, I'm picking nobody else. There's nobody else that can compete.
No doubt. No doubt.
Well, after I done talked so highly of Mr. Corey, now let's talk about the real estate market. Let's get into the educational piece about what is currently going on, because there may be some of my listeners out there that's wanting to buy a home or they looking to invest, especially after the COVID happened. We're looking for different streams of income now. Relying on our companies and our jobs, we understand that shoot, it's just as fickle as the economy. The economy going down, sometimes these companies and corporations will go down, and then next you know, that's your job.
Yep.
So real estate will always be a substantial market that you can invest in, that you can work in. So there's different components to it. So after the COVID has happened, tell me what the market looking like out there. Is it raggedy? Is it still holding up? Is we looking like we about to go into a recession?
I think the real estate market, it is very big, and it means so much to the economy.
Yes.
There's so many different aspects. I'm going to stick to just the home buying process
Right.
of the residential home and not the investment side of the commercial side or any other that nature. Just the residential side. COVID changed a lot with the market, and it changed a lot with lending that the lenders do. The good thing is that lenders are still lending and that there are still homes for sale. I think the only drawback that I would give to the market for home buyers is that there is more home buyers in the market and there is not as many people selling their home. So, for instance, that translates to me is that and I think it's across the board in all price ranges from the smallest amount of homes all the way up to the luxury listings that's in the millions or more.
Right.
So more buyers are out there in the market because of the economy and what the feds have done to the interest rate. So they dropped it extremely low. If you have great credit, you can get a 2.5 in some places for your mortgage payment interest rate. However, I think the growing rate now, if you have a 640, most lenders can get you approved across the board throughout.
Okay.
There's still some lenders that can get you approved at the 580. However, you'll need, of course, your down payment and all of those things, which comes in tail. However, I think the market is great. What will change is I think it will slow down some because the interest when the COVID gets out of here. I
don't know if it's out of here because I feel like the COVID is the way of life.
So being that the COVID
But the
is
effect
here,
of it only
so that'll cause the government to keep the interest rate low so that people will still buy
Right.
and it doesn't crash the market.
Right.
But when COVID does leave and interest rates start to go back up, the cost of home. So the interest rate, says how much it will cost you to pay that loan back.
Right.
On the rates. So a regular $200,000 loan may be $1,200 now. When COVID goes away, it can jump back up to $1,400 and $1,500, depending on your credit. So those are the things that change the most about the market. I don't think it's going to ever crash again because of some of the things that was put in place.
Right.
I just think home prices will go down when buyers leave the market because of the interest rates going back high.
Right.
So if you're interested in buying a home right now, you can't beat this time.
Yeah.
And one of the most important things about when there's not many people that's selling their home, builders are building. So you have new construction that is in the market. So for instance, and that's all across the board in price range. And if the interest rates are low, builders are giving insane incentives for you to buy their home.
Okay, well that's good. So so you did talk about the future, kind of like the future of real estate after the COVID get on out here, hopefully. Do you feel like there will be, because the COVID is affecting people's income, a lot of the unemployment rate, not sure what it is right now.
Very high.
Yeah, I know it's high. It's in double digits. Yeah. So the unemployment rate is still going up. So do you believe that maybe in the future, maybe a year or two down, there will be more foreclosure? Because when we were looking for homes, there were no foreclosures on the market. Thank God I bought a whole...
you bought in a good time with still good rates.
Right.
So when it comes to the foreclosure thing, I think it's inevitable for there to be foreclosures in the future, simply because, like you said, a lot of people lost their jobs, and a lot of people lost their jobs but got other jobs, but their income isn't the same. So, for instance, if I lose my job and I was making $20 an hour, but I have to go and find another job that only pays me $12 or $14 an hour, I cannot afford the house anymore.
Right.
And the good thing now is that there's no foreclosures. So they're not foreclosing on anyone at this time. However, that's going to come back, and if people aren't able to either refinance those homes or sell them, they'll foreclose on them.
Yeah.
And that's the same with evictions. If you're not able to pay it up or move to somewhere else, you're going to be evicted. And I think a lot of foreclosures will come back to the market, but nowhere near at 2008 and 2009.
Right.
Not that level where there's subdivisions where a whole street are out. But I think there will be good deals to be made. It's just that it all depends on where you are when you get into market to looking for them. But that past stuff that was in 08 and 09, no. However, there will be some deals to be made, but the interest rate would be higher. So it's just all relative in how you look at the market and the specific ways that it applies to you.
So with the COVID, do you feel like that'll increase the gentrification that is going on currently in Atlanta?
Gentrification started back in 08 and 09.
Okay.
And one of the ways that it started in the Atlanta area is with all the foreclosures.
Right.
And a lot of people that didn't live in those areas was able to come and buy back in those areas. For instance, if you take a look at East Atlanta and what happened with that area, the issue I think with gentrification is you can't say that it's gentrification if you don't like the style of home that is in that area. So you come out to Fairburn to buy a home because it's the big 5-bedroom 4-bath
right.
for $200,000. You can buy that same 5-bedroom 4-bath in town, but it's going to be a 3-bedroom at 1,100 square feet.
Right.
You see what I mean? So
and the price tag is about $250.
Exactly. So I think gentrification I think it's very relative to the person, because a neighborhood can be gentrified, but if they're rehabbing homes and they're putting everything all new in them, and the cost of living at that time is $300,000, but the person that lived there for 20 years only paid $600 a month in rent, is that really gentrification, or that's catching up with the times?
Well, I guess
I have a different look out on that.
Well, because for the Black community, I feel, and especially being newer to Atlanta, I've been here 4 years,
and I think gentrification is good.
You think so?
I do.
mean, it is, but I feel like in our community, we are losing good prime real estate that our grandmothers and them work hard for their coins, but the offsprings, the grandkids, or the grandkids or the the children don't want to take care of the property.
True. So a lot of that is on us. There's a couple things that help. Like, for instance, the mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms, she
Shout out
put
to
a lot
Keish.
of, yes, love Miss Keisha Bottoms. She put a lot of things in place to where gentrification doesn't happen to people. Say, for instance, if you have a house on Bell Street in West End Atlanta and it needs, it's worth a lot, and investor will come in and buy it, flip it, and resell it to somebody else for $400,000. We do it every day. Keisha said, "Well, we can put a moratorium on places to where we can give you funds to rehab your house, and you can continue to live it and get great loans for that." So if we don't take advantage of those type of things,
Well, I feel like if you don't know and you don't have someone, because like we had a conversation before, and I was like, if I want to be a real estate agent, don't you think the market is saturated with enough real estate agents, especially in Atlanta?
yes,
but then you said quality
is best,
real estate,
not quantity. Only
Right.
because a lot of my clients come from other realtors,
Right.
and
I sure did.
right. So
Mine was trash.
and you can see exactly what I mean. If the agent isn't hitting it on all points for you, you got to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because not only is that it's a big investment for you, but it's very emotional too. And you want to have a good connection and a good thing through the process.
Let's
And
go back
not
to
be
that.
sitting at the closing table eyeballing your realtor down like, if you don't get up out of here, you suck.
Listen, when we get to the home buying process section of this, I'm gonna talk about that emotional piece. We're gonna put a pin in there, because when I tell you, oh my God. Okay, so how can we obtain more knowledge? I know knowledge is based on your desire to gain knowledge, and kind of transform where you are. But how can we, like, even when I work for DJJ, I work with incarcerated youth, and they don't even, like, it's like, even not with that group, but with the group of younger kids coming up, do you think it's best that they buy at a younger age? Like, how can they get this knowledge? How can we, pretty much what I'm trying to say is, get my words together, how can we get this knowledge to our younger generation, our millennial generation? Because I don't that generation before us.
I think that's a great question, and I
like,
think
just get it to our community.
right. And there's a lot of programs that's out there that does that. And I know each and every realtor that I know has been a part of a home buying workshop that people put on in the communities. NACA is a big one.
NACA, yeah, I was trying to go through NACA, but NACA taking too long.
They take too long is their drawback. However, it's a fantastic program. We closed on one last weekend, and the buyer was able to buy and get it through the process, but it was an 8-month to 9-month process. However, there's a lot of knowledge out there. I think what we have to do is pass the knowledge down.
Yeah.
You being a homeowner at a young age,
Yeah.
pass that knowledge down.
And that's what I did with my friend. Just like
I think what we don't do enough in our community is, each one teach one.
Yeah.
And the OGs, you're an OG now in the real estate
Oh God, I'm an
world.
OG.
Pass it down. And I always tell people, come pull up on me, hang out at my office. I'm on Camp Creek. I'm always available. I always got my phone. I'm always doing something out here in this world. And I like passing because it's so huge for us.
Yeah.
I mean, the market, this is one of the only investments and only things that we can do in our in general in our lifetime that we can make a ton of money at once.
Right.
Because once you go to sell your home and move on to the next one, this house is your investment. So you're probably going to make money just by selling your house
I'm kind of thinking about selling it now just to get on that cap, but
I dig it. So it's one of our biggest investments, and we got to get more people from like us involved in it. And the home buying as early as soon as you start making money to afford rent by yourself, buy a home.
So what is the benefit? Tell me what's the benefit, because some people, I mean, it depends on your lifestyle and your
Benefit of buying a home?
Yeah, versus of course it's like some obvious reason, but really, what's the true benefit of buying a home versus renting?
Wealth. Wealth. And the way that you can gain wealth in real estate is that once you buy, I own a home too. So when I bought my home, I bought it at a price. The market has improved every year, so on. And every year that it improves, my value of my home goes up, but my mortgage stays the same.
Right.
So that's wealth. That's in my home is my bank account.
Equity.
And you learn a lot about money and how the world works from being in the home buying process.
That's true.
So you learn knowledge, you learn wealth is the biggest thing to me. I love money. And my home is my bank. Anytime I need that money, I can refinance,
That's
I can
true.
sell it, all of those things. And you providing something for your family and for your well-being as a homeowner that the house has got your name on it. That's especially, I know speaking for a man, that's nothing like that. To be able to provide something for your family. And if you have children like I do, they always got somewhere to be if you own a home.
Yeah.
If you don't, you can't control it.
Yeah. So let's say one of my listeners out there is put in a scenario. Even, let me just be transparent about my process. When I'm a single gal, not unmarried, and I moved to Atlanta, and from the reason why I wanted to buy a home is to be more stable, to have somewhere, like you say, to have somewhere where I can call home. So if when I decide to start a family and have children, I wasn't raised in an apartment. No shots to people that have been raised in an apartment, but I wasn't raised in an apartment. I was raised in a home. Now we had multiple families in that home.
Yeah.
But I was raised in a home, so forward thinking, I wanted to have something for my family and to pass, like you said, to pass on to the next generation. If I don't pass it on, it can become income property. It can become rental property. It's
so many options.
There's so many options. Now, when I did move in, nobody told me about all the extra bills I had to pay. But anyhow, despite that, somebody who's sitting listening to this, potentially thinking about buying a home, what would be the first advice you would give someone as a first-time homeowner that really wants to provide this for their children, but maybe in an in-between process right now? Maybe it's financial, maybe it's just the fear or whatever is consuming
I just
them.
think planning. Build out a plan for your next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Build out a plan, and your home and your job and your car, all of those things are part of that plan.
Yeah.
The home that you have now, going towards as soon as you become a homeowner, and through the process, your bank helps you get a hold of the fees that it comes with it. Of course, principal and interest and taxes and insurance and HOA. Those are your fees for your home, and all four of them are in your monthly escrow. So that covers that. As long as you maintain your job and spending and continue to grow every year, you're going to continue and you're going to improve that home every year. But I think just build out a plan for that. If you see that you getting married in the next 2 to 5 years and that you would possibly want a bigger home, then you get your realtor back involved and make a decision what to do with the house. Is it smart for you to keep it and rent it out, or sell it and get that income to do some of the other things that you want to do in life, such as brand new cars or tuition for school? Build out that plan. And I think you can do those things when you become a homeowner. You can only do those things when you become a homeowner.
Right.
And because, for instance, I was mentioning that your home is your bank. Like sometimes people buy that first house and they say, I don't want to go through this process again and I don't want to move at all. Okay, dip into that bank and get 20 grand out to make an addition. Or be prepared to sell it and put that 20 grand in your bank and go on to the next property.
Right.
So it's just all about your plan and where your life is going and the situation that you're in now. But because real estate typically is going to be the center of all of that, because you got to go home somewhere.
Yep. You got to find somewhere to go. They got a place for people to stay.
And your home is the center of all that.
Yes.
Even if you ain't got no car, even if you ain't got no job. You got a house.
You got a house.
You better get on.
Guess what? If something happens to your job, you can sell your house.
Exactly.
And at least get some kind of starter money
Cash
or capital.
in your pocket.
Right. Some kind of liquid asset.
People use their home as their bank for so many different kind of reasons. To start a business.
Right.
To buy a car. To send their kid to school. To bail their family members out of jail.
Yeah. Well,
You know what I mean? So people use their home, but it all starts around a home. And I think most people that have some type of tradition in their life, it's built around their home.
that's true. So, so after you buy your first home, how long do you recommend staying in your home? Like before potentially thinking about selling, and moving on to the next one.
I think it's got to be a part of your plan, that plan that you're looking at when it comes to everything that's surrounding your life, because a lot of things will dictate that. Your job may dictate that, and say if they move you across town and you're not the one that's
true.
driving an hour all the time, or that you have a kid and you need more space,
Right.
Or you may need to move your mother in. The average age is 4 to 7 years. First house. 4 to 7 years, you're on to buying the next one. And typically, most people buy their first home, then they have to buy bigger.
Yeah.
I think it's, life is a circle.
Right. You buy bigger, then when you get retirement, you want
buy
to
smaller.
Yeah.
Yep. So
You
your
wanna
first
downsize.
home is typically that 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath home. Your second home is 4 to 5 bedrooms because your family is expanding. You're possibly married and you're just making more money and you can afford it. And you want the better style of home and life. So you purchase up, then all of those things that matters to most families when people are having children is schools.
Right.
What school we're going to be in? Where's my commute to school? Because most people doesn't mind driving to work or commuting to work, but the school is typically first, then these things that's surrounding the home, such as parks and restaurants and shops and things. But
Depending on your lifestyle. So
depending
really
on your
all
lifestyle. Exactly. So I think the most people live in their house from between 4 to 7 years. I was in my first house only 2 years. But it was equity there, and I wanted a bigger house.
Yeah.
So 2 years, time to go.
It's time to go. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but when you're buying your first home, now you got, I was buying my first home. What advice would you give them on the condition of home? So let's say I didn't have a lot of buying power. To be transparent, I had $150K based on my income, interest, credit score, and all of that nature. So what would you say to a person that is, let's say their buying power is 150 and we're in the COVID where the inventory is low and they really want to buy a home because they see the value in buying a home right now because they know that down the line the interest rate gonna go back up, so that means the value of your home gonna go back up. So what do you say about them being open-minded to the type of house, because it may not be the house or idea home that they want? So what would you say to that person that may be a little closed-minded but then have this wonderful big dream about crown molding and all that?
I love that question. I say first things first is patience because of the market and condition that we're in. So learn some patience, or I'm going to help you learn it by giving you those sworn words, those nice words that you need to understand patience, and get your mindset right. Because at the end of the day, we're adults and we know what our budget is. So if you can, just perfect example, this world that we're in now, 150 grand, you're going to have to be patient because there's not going to be a ton of those properties on the market, and you have to consider every area of town because you remember it's your first home.
Right.
You shouldn't have mind commuting. The ideal thing is to buy a home and to close in that budget so that you can grow in that house and you can make more money and move on to the next one. Because if that home is 150 now and that's your budget and you're going to be in a couple years, that house is going to continue to grow in equity. So be patient. Look at everything out there on the market that's in your budget. Learn family members and friends that know how to paint.
Yeah, okay.
That know how to replace a refrigerator.
Okay.
Learn those things.
And be open-minded.
Right. Be open-minded about the location. Be open-minded about the style of home. All of those things. Don't be closed-minded when your budget is lower.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with your budget being lower. It's just what it is.
Right.
That's just being real. And then your realtor, on the other hand, has got to be able to help you some too.
Yeah.
To be able to give you some tools to, say for instance, you find your budget is 150, but you find a house for 130. Mm-hmm. So let me get my client 10 grand so they can paint the house and put new appliances in.
Right.
Then when you get in there, you put your own carpet and floors in.
Yeah, because they got good bones.
Exactly. So be open-minded and be patient and be available to get out there and look at stuff when your realtor has figured out what you like and what will work for you.
Oh, yeah, because and it was an emotional, be emotionally strong, have a support system, because I didn't think, I know everybody said, the house buying process is a process. Mm-hmm. I went through processes in my life, but this process, oh my God, tried and true. And it really determines if how bad you really want a home.
Yep. I think that the easiest part, the less stress part that I've kind of learned through clients over the years is that the out looking for homes.
Yeah.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, that is the fun part.
Because you'll text me or call me at any time, and I'll text or call you a lot of times to, let's check this out, or I want to see this, or is this available? And we go take out and we look at them. And I wouldn't say the difficult part. I just say the higher level of stress part is the underwriting process. Because the lender needs you to get all of these things.
All these things. When I tell you, they strip you down naked financially. Mm-hmm. Why you didn't pay your credit card bill a year ago?
Exactly.
That's the only bill you missed.
I think with COVID, what's happening now that the lender restrictions are a little stricter, we try to do a lot of those things up front. Mm-hmm. So we don't go and take you out and find you a home and, okay, we didn't know that you had a missed payment 5 months ago on a bill that matters to your credit. So we try to learn all of those things up front so you can be approved instead of pre-approved. Yeah. Because pre-approved, two things in getting...
There are two different things.
Two different styles of getting prepared to buy a home. One is you can simply go online to your bank and fill out their information, and if it looks to their par, they will pre-approve you. Then the going further from that than looking at home is sending all of your documents in, your tax returns and your bank statements and your pay stubs. Yeah. So they can approve all of those things that you said that you did. Yeah. And they'll look at your credit to make certain all those things coincide with each other. I do not go and show people homes unless they've had that conversation with the lender.
Absolutely. Because there are... my realtor before you had me out there looking at homes, and I just got a generic pre-approval, like you said. You enter your basic information. They don't really go deep into your credit with the bank, and it really wasn't substantial.
It can set you up easily, and
because I found a home that I really liked, and I couldn't get it.
Exactly. So, and it will set you up. The biggest thing about talking with the lender is understanding your budget. Yeah. Just because you make 50 grand a year doesn't mean you can afford all of your 50 grand. Yeah. Because your debt to income ratio can substantially reduce that. And if you can't afford all of your 50 grand, what can you afford in that budget? Because most lenders are around a 51% of your debt to income ratio, and you got to figure that out. So, and then your credit may be as too low that you can only go FHA. So some homes... Oh,
yes. Let's talk about the difference. I'm going to cut you off, but let's talk about the difference between FHA and conventional loan, because I actually have a conventional loan.
Yeah, the three main loans are the conventional style loan, the FHA style loan, and the VA loan. Mm-hmm. Of course, most people can understand that a VA loan is backed by the VA, which gives veteran buying power, and it doesn't charge them a down payment, and it restricts the cost that the lender can charge them in closing costs. Yeah. So, especially with new construction, VA veteran can go into a brand new home with no money out of pocket. Mm-hmm. And FHA loan is a federally backed loan. So, I think it's a gift and a curse. And a conventional loan is also federally backed at some aspects, but I think the two difference in them is always just about credit score. Yeah. Because you can get a conventional loan if your credit score is high with just 3% down. Right. FHA is a basic it's a good loan for a first-time home buyer with they haven't established a lot of credit yet,
Right.
and they want to have lower down payment because it's only 3.5%. So just imagine if it's $100,000 home, it's $3,500 for
Right.
your down payment. So FHA keeps that bench set at 3.5%, and they want your credit score to be 580 and up. If it's lower, your interest rate is going to be higher.
Right.
If it's higher, your interest rate is going to be lower. And you also, with the FHA, the biggest drawback is the insurance that the bank and the federal government provides themselves, because you're a at-risk buyer because you have a lower interest rate and you're into a FHA loan. So they want you to buy private mortgage insurance on the back of it called PMI. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, PMI.
Yeah,
Private
cool.
mortgage insurance.
And
I know a little something.
That's another amount that's
Added
tacked on
onto
to your monthly payment, and that makes your monthly payment higher. So there's a give and take. Of course, better credit, the better loan you're going to get. But at the same time, too, the federal government says we want people to still be able to buy. We're just going to make you pay for the insurance in case you default because you have bad credit.
Yeah.
So that's their covering theirself, which is what it is. But hey, I used FHA loan twice.
I'm conventional, and that was based on it was with my bank because a lot of times you can look into.
Didn't you use USA?
Navy Federal.
Navy Federal.
And they had a program where it was 100% financing.
Yep.
And
Navy Federal isn't even lending much now.
Yeah.
A lot of people, Navy Federal, first of all, that's not their biggest tool in their toolbox is in the home mortgage business.
Oh, really?
They prefer to provide small auto loans. My opinion, provide small auto loans and banking and small things like that. So most people that I had someone go at them with a 680 credit score and they didn't get approved.
Jeez.
But you got to remember they're 100%
can.
as well. So they need to be able to tack on some points on the back of their loan.
Their interest rate is high though.
So they can provide that 100% to you. So you don't have a down payment. It got high
interest rate. That was my offset. So I didn't really know all about that.
Ain't nothing for free.
It sure ain't.
Ain't nothing for free.
So what I would the best advice would be for the best advice would be for if you're banking with any of your bank or credit unions, look into what kind of programs they have for mortgage and first-time home buyers, because a lot of times they have incentive programs.
I say my best advice, if you're interested in becoming a homeowner, call me and have a consultation.
Well, absolutely.
Because I can ask you questions simply, when the last time you looked at your credit?
Yeah.
What do you think you make per year? What are some of the things that's coming out of your account every month? What are you paying for?
Right. So you can look at those preliminary
I can ask those questions to you and can determine if you're ready to get pre-approved yet. Because
before you even waste your time.
Yeah, and yours and mine. Because I don't want to send you to your lender and you go to get pre-qualified and you just got finished looking at your credit online. You have 2 late payments and some things that's drawing your credit way down, say past the 580. And you don't have much money saved. So we're already playing from behind.
Right.
So I can play from behind when you don't have much money saved, but I need you to have a good credit.
Yeah.
640 to me is good credit.
So that's what we should shoot for, guys. If you're looking into buying a home, 640 is the baseline of what you need to shoot for.
640.
And also look at any of those late payments. Credit Karma is not always accurate. So don't just rely on Credit Karma.
However, Credit Karma can give you a baseline of where you're at.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I would go even deep and further and go to Experian, TransUnion, and what's the other one? There's 3 of them. Equifax. Yeah. And actually get a report so you can actually see what is coming up, because all 3 of them gives different types of. Some might pick up your car loan, some might pick up your credit. One might.
And credit, the way that the home loan lender looks at credit is completely different than, say, for instance, getting pre-approved for an auto loan. Your home loan lender is going to look at your credit from the past 12 months. They're going to be sticklers about that.
Right.
Some things that you was late on may matter to them. Some things may not.
That's true.
And also, what you have that's revolving credit. What I think a lot of people don't do that they don't realize is that everyone needs revolving credit.
Yeah.
Because either from a JCPenney's card, a bank card from your local bank that you bank with every day, or a gas card. I think the best advice to get revolving credit and to keep it established is to get a credit card from your bank and get a gas card. Those two things. Put all
And if
your
you can't, if your credit score not high enough, you can also get a secure credit card where you actually put
Build
your own money up. It can be at low amounts from 300 to 500, and a lot of times those banks or credit unions, if you pay your bill on time for 6 months, they will turn that into unsecured, meaning that the money will be back from the bank. You just pay whatever you spent plus interest.
Exactly. And always the best advice is going to come from a lender,
of course,
or a credit specialist. However, me
There's
and
some
Keita
things
went through this thing before, so we may have a couple tips.
Just a little bit of tips, but definitely we'll reach out and get more information, like you said, if we can't get to Corey and you're not in the Atlanta area or Georgia area, find a good realtor, ask somebody that bought a home that had a real good realtor, or just we can.
And if you don't know someone, email me. I'll leave my email at the end here, and I can send you a referral for a realtor that can help you, that would have some of the same knowledge.
Yes. So that was wonderful advice, and I hope my listeners take something away. If they're interested in possibly buying a home, what does the market look like when it comes to COVID? So just to wrap up our thoughts, Corey, are there any programs that are out there that might be more in the national, like we have talked about NACA, that may help also do workshops as well? Just a couple of resources so they can kind of reach out to that and get that part started. And of course, reach out to Corey Williams to get more information as well.
Two things. I think one is call me, and so I can get a little bit more information and details, because all these programs that's out there isn't for everybody.
That's true.
NACA is a program, my opinion, and I have NACA clients to this day, is that you got to have the patience and you got to be able to take their advice, because once you get to the end, but if you're like Keita and you have good credit and you have established income,
it was okay.
You go straight to Navy Federal or USAA. They're going to give you that 100% loan.
Yeah.
Or if you was like myself when I started, get with a realtor that can walk you through those things, or go get with a program like NACA that can help you understand your budget, help you understand how to save, and get taken off to the path to home ownership. But I think it's a process, and the process was worth getting into. Absolutely.
So wonderful. That was some good information. But I'm going to end on a real, I won't call it ignorant note, but me and Corey was discussing this offline. And I'm going to wrap it up, guys, with this final thing. DeVal Ellis and his wife did a wonderful podcast. I'm sure if y'all heard, I think it's called Dead Ass or whatever. And the topic was, he brought it up and was like, why do women, because my last episode was on monogamy, like this is going to be an ongoing conversation. Why do women want monogamy when, and after they get married, their sex drive depreciates significantly? And that can be a whole lot of other factors, ladies. But why do women shoot for monogamy when they can't may not be able to keep up with their man's sex drive? So he's saying that he's saying that women sometimes be selfish because I want you to have sex with just me, not nobody else. You can't have sex with nobody else. And if I don't feel like doing that, you got to go find some way to deal with that. But then we're not willing to share the man. You say we not willing to share the man. This ain't no polygamy if that's not what we agree to.
I hate to speak on women's mindset.
Yeah, please don't.
So I'm not going to. But from the experiences that I would have, and the only thing I understand the question that DeVal had, and I think it's a great question for women and relationships in general. It's a tough question, though.
It is.
Because it makes you be so real with yourself. And I think one of her responses is that if I would have knew that it was this, I would have reconsidered being in a relationship. Or being in a monogamous relationship.
Right.
But I think I think the way to answer that And the thing to do, just my opinion, is that you got to get to a point to where you will do whatever that person asks you to just because it makes them happy to an extent.
Whatever. Now,
So, for instance, let me drill down
drop
on
an
that just a little bit
example.
more. So, for instance, if we're keeping it within a boundary, say you give me your boundary of sex.
Right.
And the sex can't go, the boundaries can't go past some things like booty hole stuff.
Oh, God.
I ain't with all that, right?
Right.
So if we know each other's boundaries, I need to be able to put my boundaries on you whenever I want to, if you want to be in a monogamous relationship to me. Mm-hmm. And we should be able to fulfill each other within that boundary. Mm-hmm. And if you can't, you need to reconsider being in a relationship with me, or you got to be okay with that other style of relationships called open
or polygamy,
or whatever they do it.
Even though polygamy is not legal.
Most men aren't with that openness. Only reason.
What?
Only reason I think the main reason that men cheat is because they're not getting what they want, or they haven't got enough maturity to
look outside of sex. Just be all about sex.
I think the maturity is to not need to get it from someone else. But if I can come home to you to get it, I don't need to go nowhere else and get it. If I'm mature enough.
But y'all got to think about a whole lot of factors. What she brought up is that, I don't have kids, but I can just imagine, just had a kid maybe 2 months ago. This child's still not on a regular sleeping schedule, or the stress of just being a wife, a mother, a worker, just all of that. That really can just make you just tired. You be tired. And then you coming home, I understand you're a provider and you out there getting the coins, and you stressed out, so you kind of want to relieve yourself with the woman that you chose to be with, whether you're married or in a relationship. I think it's a two-way street
when all of those things into a woman's plate, because the guy's got to help that woman with some of those things on that plate. Absolutely. Because it's on us.
I agree with that. Come on,
I do
Corey.
think that it's on us a lot to be able to put our lady in the mood.
Yeah.
But you can't be shutting me down when I'm trying to get you in the mood, though, either.
You're like, all right, nobody feel like that tonight.
All right, then.
Not all right.
Let's have this conversation again about this monogamy.
You sure I can't cheat? But no, I mean, it is true. Because if you're really not, as a woman, and especially when you get into the realms of marriage and you are on a more spiritual level and looking for spiritual guidance, the Bible says you are submit to each other.
Yes.
And it also said that you are not supposed to deny that person of any sexual pleasures.
Right.
As well, too. So, ladies, let's just tune.
The part that messes all of those sayings up and those beliefs and our faith up is us and the things that we add into those things. Because, I mean, of course, everybody ain't on our everybody is not living word by word of their faith.
Of course.
However, what we got to realize is, in order to get, I think, I'm a big boy, so in order to get what I want, I need to be able to do more.
Yeah.
And I got to be able to put my situation that I am with this lady into a situation that benefits me.
Yeah.
So if it's bills, if it's things around the house, I got to be able to take care of those things.
Yeah, take that extra initiative.
But if I'm doing those things...
Okay, now if you're doing all that and she still ain't giving up now, I ain't say you go out and cheat, but what if you done had the conversation and she still do the same thing?
She's still doing the same thing. We got to have a conversation. Because
I'm saying, what after multiple conversations?
And then it all depends on how deep we are.
So that does that give the right to go ahead and cheat? Well, I'm gonna go out here and cheat.
I mean, if you're truthful to your vows when you get married, I'm not married, so if you're truthful to that, I mean, I am single until I'm married.
I said the same thing, Corey.
Single
whether
until
you're
I'm
in a relationship or not, you still single. Mm-hmm. I mean, you want to respect the commitment that you guys have in that relationship.
But if you guys had that conversation and we both up here talking about, hey, I'm going to be faithful to you from here on out,
right?
No matter if we're not married or not, and we're still dating and seeing each other. Yeah, I'm going to be faithful. Mm-hmm. But that means I got to be faithful.
So that means you got to test ride the ride before you actually buy it. Then
right.
So that means people who going getting into marriages without test driving, actually having sex before marriage. And what if that all changed and then we just end up divorced or end up in a polygamous relationship?
Hopefully you figure those things out before you get married.
Yeah, communication.
Because at the end of the day, I think once you get married, you gotta go all ways to fix your issues.
Yeah.
With counseling, because you start counseling before you even get married. With couples counseling, with marriage counseling, and I think if you're faith driven, that's a part of your marriage. Yeah. Your counsel with your faith. Mm-hmm. But I do think that. I also asked this another chick the other day.
Yeah, come on, chicks.
I asked her, I'm like, do you think, would you do something for a man just because you knew that would make him happy? If it's within y'all's boundaries. Because this is a hot girl summer right now.
You're giving a sympathy sex. Here,
right.
Your little ass.
Or you can say, for instance, you're just doing something for him just because you know that's what he wants. Some women, I ain't doing all that. He got to make sure I'm this. He got to make sure I'm that. Or, we get that.
I think that's what love is supposed to be. You supposed to kind of fulfill each other's need, and you're supposed to be selfish within that. So if I'm being selfish and putting my needs second, which is hard, and you saying you're putting your needs second, that means I'm getting my needs met through you. Yeah. I think that's how it's supposed to. I read it somewhere.
And I think the best.
But that's to achieve that is hard because that's another segment. We ain't gonna get too deep into that. That's gonna be another segment. I'm gonna bring Corey back, and we're gonna be getting into
all you want.
Yes, we're gonna dive a little bit into that. So that was a good conversation. Not to wrap it up is good, but I want you to drop your information, Corey, so that the people, hopefully they listening to the end, can get your information and sell yourself.
Shoot ya. Call me. I think when anything that comes with real estate that you're interested in buying, selling, investing, and more information, the better for you. Email me, text me, or just give me a call. My office is 3800 Camp Creek Parkway, of course, Atlanta, Georgia. Right off of the Camp Creek Parkway, and my cell phone number is 470-213-9564. Again, 470-213-9564, and I always have my emails 3 or 4 times a day, which is mycwhomes@gmail.com. That's mycwhomes@gmail.com.
Yes, hit my boy Corey up, even if you got a question, because you never know who he know, and if you are not in other states, because my South Carolina family is listening too. If you out of state, he may have somebody that he know that is doing real estate in South Carolina.
How that works is just, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because a lot of people that, just like I got introduced to you, but they live out of the state or they live out of the country or something. And of course, I'm with a big network in Keller Williams, and I'm able to interview those other agents. A friend of mine recently moved to Tallahassee. So I phone interviewed and Zoom interviewed a couple agents down there and gave him my opinion on those 2 agents, and he made a choice. And I think
so
they're
that's
under
just
contract
having
now.
a dope realtor in your back pocket. And that's what he's going to do for you. Yes. So this was wonderful, Corey. I appreciate the information and knowledge that we dropped. Hopefully, like I said, my listeners can get a different perspective and really kind of understand what the home buying process is, and also what the market is currently looking like when you're out there trying to buy. And we're talking about mostly the market in Metro Atlanta. But like I said, Corey is full of knowledge. If he don't have the answer, he's going to find the answer for you.
That's it.
That's it. So thank you, Corey, for coming again.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So thank you, listeners and my family. Thank you for listening. Again, this is Point Blank in the Period. And look for Corey information. I will put it in the description box. Talk to you later. Thank you, family, for tuning in to Point Blank and the Period podcast. I would like for you to like and subscribe to my podcast, and also follow me on social media, Instagram at Keita, Keita, number 1, the letter N _ only for all your latest updates. I look forward to you tuning in.